quite busy during the lockdown.
Very
You
good.
know, nothing stopped
You
moving.
you you had filed some case against those labs also, na?
Yes, yeah. You know, so
Okay.
but
So
I've been
so
working through the lockdown.
okay. So
Realize.
namaste Vandana ma'am, and
Namaste,
welcome
how are you?
to the InspireX Experience Conversations, where we have several of our Karmavir Puraskar Award recipients like you sharing their life story and their journey and their insights for the benefit of our participants and people who
Right.
attend the Inspire Experience Conversations. As you know, our host is and co-founder, Itu, would have this cool, casual conversation with you for the next 45 minutes or so. I'm just here to welcome you and say hello and hand you over to Itu, and then I'll join you in the last 10 to 15 minutes to provoke some thoughts, to ask some thought-provoking questions. The bad cop part. The good cop part will be done
Yeah.
by Itu. Okay, so over to you, Itu, and all the best, Vandana.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Namaste once again, Vandana.
Namaste, Itu. How are you doing?
Doing great. So excited to have you with us and do this candid, cool conversation that we call Inspire Experience on Mondays.
Yes.
And looking forward to a lot of learning from you and a lot of inspiration from you.
Thank you.
And give me a minute. I'm going to put it on record.
Yes.
Having to do a lot of things at the same time, multitasking, learning a new way of life in the new normal, as we call.
Yeah, well, I'm
um,
having my tea, so that's a multitask I'm doing.
so cheers to that, and welcome aboard.
Thank you, Itu. Thank you very much for having me here, for giving me this opportunity. You know, I've always been a big fan of Jerry and the work that he does and the work that your organization does. Because, and I'm not just saying it. You know, I just feel that you guys are like us. You're never sold out. You know, so our journey may be tougher, especially in a country like India, where everybody seems to have sold out, you know, and we are seeing a lot of that now with the whole news channel drama going on, you know, and you know, so that's why I've always made time to be a part of this organization. I'm always happy to you know contribute in whatever manner I can, you know.
Thank
So
you
thank
so
you
much.
for having me here. It's a real honor.
Thank you so much. And I know, Vandana, you've taken out time to be with us, and you're also our, Maharatna awardee of
Yes.
the year 2019. And your story is stellar. Your story is of courage, bravery, resilience, inspiration, and also looking forward to doing so much in life and not just giving up. But having said that, I'm going to get into our conversation. And, I want to know, Vandana, what was it like growing up, when you were growing up? And, from growing up as a child and then embarking on this absolutely firebrand journey of path breaking journey, as we say. Tell me about that. Tell me all of that and take us through it.
Basically, I come from what I call a 40 background, you know, so you always were doing, I mean, you know, money was not our be all and end all of existence. And I think that shaped a lot of my thoughts. And I think my father was the first feminist I encountered because, you know, he always had this whole thing that, well, you know, boys and girls are equal and you can do whatever you want to do. And, you know, I speak about this in my book X Files, where, you know, as a child, when we came to Bombay to my grandmom's house for our vacations, and my cousin, he used to get extra mango milkshake, you know, and that's a big deal because it was Alfonso mango milkshake. And I said I wanted more, and he said, "No, you're a girl, so you're going to get less." And I remember beating him up, you know, and then I wrote to my father and I said, you know, he said girls are lesser than boys. And my father, even then, he did not joke. He said, "You must let him have more because you're a guest and you are absolutely not to beat up anybody." even if you can beat them, So, so I mean, that was the kind of, I think I had a really beautiful childhood. And I think that we were surrounded by our older cousins, but and they always try to sort of make you feel lesser than what you are. But I think a lot of it made you feel that well, if they said that you didn't dress well, you always felt that, well, I'm going to dress well. If they said you didn't do well in school, you wanted to do better and better. So I think it shaped a lot of my thoughts, and it made us honest. It made us stand up for what we were. And I still continue on that path, and it has served me well in the long run. And I grew up reading a lot of books. I grew up sort of appreciating nature, because I grew up on a farm. And my father, like I said, was in the Air Force. He fought 3 wars for this country. My mother was my mother. She fed us all the time. And so I think it's a great childhood to have when you're in a small city. Like I was in Nambala, I was in Secunderabad. So these are small cities. They help you to grow more. And rather than being in a big city where you just get lost. And I think sometimes you just become clones of each other. And I think that where standing up for yourself, I think the fact that I was beating up my cousin and winning, so I think that set the foundation of becoming, choosing your words, a firebrand to where I am today.
Yeah, yeah. And then tell us about the journey that really took the turn of you, that, oh, this is not where I'm going to be. I'm not that abla nari.
I'm not that Ablanari. I
Yeah,
like that term.
yeah,
And the thing is that, I mean, like, you're a good looking lady, you know. We are all good looking women, not only because of the way that we are being blessed, but, the way we keep ourselves, the way our thoughts and our actions make us what we are. And I think, when I got married, I think the whole idea was that, you pick somebody who is extremely good looking, and fits your vibe of good looking in every sense. She's good looking, she's intelligent, she'll fit into our mold, she looks like she's from a good family. So let's get married to her, and then let's just do the opposite of whatever she believes in. And I think it was a bad journey for anyone. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But I also feel that, the violence and the sadness and the whole questioning. In fact, again, in my book, I mentioned that, sometimes the violence gets you so mad. I mean, and I used to laugh, and I used to tell my friends that maybe, hey, Max should start a beauty line in which they only cover up bruises of women. I said they'll make a killing out of it. And I said, definitely pun intended in terms of the killing, and I think it was my sense of humor and my belief in what my father would have said to me if he was alive. I used to have these conversations with my father, and he was long gone, because I lost my dad when I was barely 16. And I just felt he would have said, I fought 3 wars for this country, for you to lose this tiny battle in a marriage? No way. And I think that sort of gave me a lot of courage. And I think the first step out was, I think that was forced upon me. And, my, after a terrible bout of another violent bout, and my husband and in-laws, they pushed me out of the house. And this was in Pali Hill in Bandra, which is one of the poshest localities in the
yeah,
world,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And, the funny part is that people just start treating you like a leper if you're married to a rich person, and then you are suddenly not.
yeah,
In that building, there were so many well known actors, actors, actresses, industrialists. And I'm talking about people having a net worth of 500 crores, 1,000 crores. Not one person stood up and said, look, come in, have a glass of water. We cannot keep you at home, but we will get you dropped off at home. And this was like at 2 in the morning. And I had nothing except the clothes on my back. And I remember walking up, and Pali Hill is like a steep hill, and you walk up, and I took an auto, and I went to my lady who used to clean my house. I went to her house, and I think her name is Bobby. I think she had more guts than every rich person and so-called brave people after. So I think it's like your family is the family you make in your journey of adversity, and they will stick by you, you know. And so I think that was the beginning of the end, and that was the beginning of a new beginning. And I think that's where my journey started, and I just want to share a few nuggets from the journey. I didn't have a lawyer because I didn't have money. So I went to a lawyer and I said, look, whatever money I get, I'll give it to you from there. And she said, okay, fine, let's go for this. And during the course of that, I discovered so many things about me. I went back to work. I got a job in the United States on my own merit, based on just my English speaking skills and my ability to, again, bravery, I think. And this whole thing, that we are all podgy kids and you must be on time and so on and so forth. I actually got that job in the United States because it was one of the heaviest rainfalls in Mumbai. And in that maddening rain, I drove for the interview and I was 15 minutes before time. And that there were these Americans, they were aghast. And they interviewed me for 10 minutes and they said, don't you want to know why weren't we asking you any more questions? I said, no, not really. I don't know. They said, out of 20 applicants for this senior position, you're the only one who turned up, and you turned up before time. you know, so it never struck me before that I don't have to go. So because growing up, there was no in my father's vocabulary for us. And my mother kept that up. So I got this job and, I earned a lot of money. So I put together my finances. Although I must say, when I restarted my journey, people were really shocked to know I just had 750 rupees in my bank account. And I just said, well, with 750 rupees, you can have dreams worth billions, you know. And I got this job, and then I educated myself. I started India's first non-judgmental support group for people going through divorce. We were all like a bunch of friends together. I finished my law, and after that, I sort of started counseling people for free. I took up pre-legal aid cases,
Yeah.
and along
Vandana,
the journey,
I'm going to interject here, and because there's very beautiful things coming out of what you're talking, and I'm just going to reiterate them. And
thank you.
I'm an Ambala girl. I'm an Ambala Chandigarh girl, so I understand the small town thing, the
Right.
4G thing, and all of that. And you talk something so beautiful that parenting is very very important, and it's a conscious, mindful exercise. And you remembered your father all the time when you were in low times. And we at Rex Karamveer mission talk about that what the world is actually dealing with is apathy.
Yeah.
Empathy is not there. And then you talk about these people in this posh, modern, high rise, de la cream of Mumbai, not even opening their door to see that somebody is in distress. And you had that perseverance, you had that power within yourself, and you were breaking down to break through. And that that's how you meandered through everything in life, and that makes you the true Karamveer hero. or those these are the people who are champions of change, because uh, you led such a beautiful way for so many women to kind of say that, well, you don't have to fit into that advertisement that they give in the newspaper, which is appalling, that even today if you pick up the Sunday newspaper you will find those advertisements. And and what you say is happening in the society, you've lived that apathy.
Yes. But I just feel that, apathy is something that we all sort of revel in. And in India, everybody said, let it be. It's
Yeah,
not your concern.
right.
And I think people are the ones who are not filled with apathy. And that is why your organization has made such a big difference
True.
in people's lives.
True.
You know, I cannot imagine Jerry ever saying, "Chalta hai, hone do." I cannot do that. You know,
Yeah.
so I just feel that, why are people? What are you living for? What
True.
is that great big journey that you're going to reach? That you can't stand by and help another person. So I just feel that, that's where uh, like my family didn't help me, but I'm not disgruntled about that. I just feel, okay, that was their outlook, this is mine. And look where we've gone ahead in our journey, and where they are. I don't want to be unhappy. I mean, I may have had only 750 pages, but I ended up writing two books, and so it's I don't think it has to do with the money. I think it has to do, like you said, you cannot have apathy. You cannot just be a run of the mill person.
Yeah, the
You've got to stand up
mindset.
for your rights. And I think that's where I am today. In fact, we've got some I've lodged a couple of FIRs, and in a personal matter of mine, the Mumbai police doesn't take action, and I know that why they don't take action. I even spell it out, and I've said it openly. And the thing is, I refuse to pay any money. I said, I will go to court, but I will not keep quiet and just see where I have been helped. I'm a senior counsel with National Commission for Women, and the commission has stepped forward to help me. So you see, you just need to. One of the things I need to tell women is just hang in there.
Yeah, don't be
Just
scared.
hang in there. Something good will come about. So the commission stepped forward, and here I am. Suddenly, the commissioner of police is speaking with me, and I have the additional commissioner trying to investigate the matter, and so on and so forth. It's just that India has too much of apathy. That is why we are where we are, and like our freedom of speech is muffled, as you're aware, with what's happening currently. I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying it's a freedom of speech issue.
Right.
But I didn't hear any voices.
Yeah.
You
You
see
still
that,
don't hear. We still don't hear.
it's that is what is scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only today. In fact, I called up a few senior journalists who are friends of mine and acquaintances of mine. I said, why aren't you all talking about this other journalist? And they said, actually, he's not associated with our news channel. I said, you know what? I mean, really?
Yeah, so it's a typical Indian mindset where you say that I'm going to clean my house and throw the kachara outside
Put the
because the
kachra
house is
outside.
mine, but the outside road is somebody else's, and this
Yes.
somebody else's has led us to what it is. One, I'm going to pick up some words from where I read about you, and I
Okay.
wanted to talk about something very important, which is a power that we talk at Mojosh Inspirator and we talk at Rex Karamveer Mission in all our programs and initiatives
So,
that we are launching at schools and colleges, and we've been doing those, and Jerry would talk about it in details later. But it says that Vandy has this ability, I'm going to read it out. Vandy has this ability to retain her sense of humor even in the face of most adverse situations. She does not take them seriously, doesn't get bogged at time, but she believes in facing chin up and going full storm ahead instead of brooding over them and making herself feel more miserable. Her philosophy, back to life, a litigant, is humorous. So tell me about humor as a power, because you've used your humor as a power, and we at Rex Karamveer absolutely celebrate this power that we have within us, where you can actually laugh about at yourself and make a learning out of it for everyone.
Yeah, well, like I said, that even during those times, I was telling people that hey, Mac should come out. I mean, imagine that. You're getting hammered, and you're finding humor in that. And what I'm doing is, so I got this book which is X Files, the story of my life, and it is a humorous take on divorce. And there's another one which when I get up I will send for that. That is also called 360 degrees back to life, a litigant's humorous perspective on divorce.
Right.
There's a beautiful saying, and I think Oscar Wilde said it, that we need to stop taking life seriously because none of us are getting out of it alive.
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
and the Indians have this horrible sense of humor because we are too prickly about our so-called self-esteem, and our and it's not self-esteem, that's a stupid ego. I think self-esteem comes from what you believe in, what you stand for, but I
True.
think humor takes you through everything in life. you know and I think that is extremely important to have. And it's important to be judged by what you do rather than what you are. People say, I am so and so's daughter. I am a big divorce lawyer. I am a celebrity. But that is not important. So we need to sort of stop doing that. And I think humor also minimizes the pain. I think that for me is a big thing. I mean,
Mm.
I lost my parents when I was really young, both of them, and both of them I lost to cancer. And then this marriage, and then you have sort of a lot of family drops off on the way because they don't agree with what you stand for. So I think in all of that you will see humor. And I think the saddest people are the most humorous, like Charlie Chaplin. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
so I think somewhere, humor covers the pain, helps me to deal with it. So
Yeah.
I just go with that. And I just tell people that just keep that sense of humor intact, but work. A lot of women, if you come to me and they say, oh, we want to be like you and we want to this thing, you've inspired us. So then I tell them, so then why are you asking your husband for crores of rupees in alimony? I walked off with nothing, you
Mm.
know, and I didn't waste my time over there. I said, you need to build yourself up,
Yeah.
so don't tell me that can we be like you, but y'all don't want to work. You see,
Right.
you need to work.
Yeah.
You need to believe in yourself. You need
Mm.
to work. And I can't find any better example when they say, no, but it wasn't so bad for you. No, no, it was bad for me.
Yeah.
I just had 750 bucks. I, I didn't have money to pay the lady who was cleaning the house. I remember after the first month when she came back to work for me, she was getting me food from her house, and I said, okay, so I need to pay your salary. She
Mm.
tells me dismissively, अरे तू क्या मेरी पगार देगी? तेरे पास खुद खाने को पैसा नहीं है. I said, oh my goodness, she is so right. She's giving me food from her house,
Yeah.
you know. But I think you get through it, and I think that is the beauty of life. And that is the beauty of so many people you draw inspiration from, be it Abraham Lincoln or Gandhi ji, or amongst the glamour world, Oprah Winfrey. All these people went through so many failures. I mean, look at Joe Biden. This is his third attempt at presidency, and now he's the president of the United States. Look at Kamala Harris. And I mean, we are also proud of all these people, so
You're taking a lot of big names. We at Rex Karamveer in the 16, 17 years of our journey have had people from nowhere. I call them people from crevices and croonies of the country. Dashrath Manji, who's our masculine, inspiration for the Rex Karamveer, he came from nowhere. And you have to have self-belief, perseverance, and that was in plenty with you. Tell me about the fact that you went through a really hard time, you went through dark time, down time, you persevered, and then you opened up a support group, and you started as a crusader, an activist, to start helping these women who were separated, who were divorced, who were abused. Tell me about that part, because counseling and support group, and it's something that in India it's not there. People don't talk, people don't support, as you said, that's how it happened. So tell us about that part of your journey
okay, so
and the learning from it.
that's so I mean, I think the support group was a big change in my life, and it helped me to look outward rather than focus on the so-called miseries that I was going through. Because I remember 4 months or 5 months after my divorce papers were served to me, and I'm talking to a friend of mine, and suddenly he says, "Okay, Vandy, I'll talk to you later now." And I say, "What happened?" So he says, "It's 7 in the morning. You've been talking to me since 3 in the morning, and I need to take a flight and go to Calcutta to meet my old parents." And suddenly it hit me, oh my God, I'm so self-obsessed. It didn't even strike me that this guy's got a job, he's got elderly parents, and here he is sitting and listening to my whining. And I said, the other thing which kick-started it for me was that I at least I have the ability to talk to people and sort of become friendly with them. But there are so many people who are just introverts and they have no outlet. And thirdly, I mean, I really don't give a damn, about the so-called morals and moralistic and what have you. So I said that, I've got these three. I said, I've got these three qualities. Why am I not talking to others to change their lives? And why am I so focused on only my own miseries? And maybe I should stop whining like an old lady and get with the plan. And I think that's where you're always self introspecting, and I think your meditation helps with that. And I just said, I never want to be a glass full, because a glass full you can't pour any more water, so there's no learning. Always going to have that little bit left so that I can learn a little more. So that was the initiation of my support group, which started around 4 months into my divorce. Over 10 years, we started in 2001. Over 10 years, we counseled and spoke with and set up a chain reaction of around 10,000 people, which I think now is a lot,
Yeah.
you know. And I was having these one-on-ones, I was having email counseling. Even before emails were so prevalent, we were doing BCCs to people where we had like 200 people in a support group. Okay, then we had, let's say I counseled you, you counseled someone else, that someone else counseled. So, we had this whole chain reaction.
Mm.
And I was invited to speak in Oman by the Indian embassy. And I think that's a really brave thing for the ambassador at that time to do. And his name is Anil Wadhwa. He's now in Delhi. And I think he's a really brave man, because well, the topic was divorce.
Mm.
And in a country, where they don't follow the Hindu way of this thing,
Yeah.
I thought it was really brave of him to call me, and I addressed about 300, 400 people there.
Right.
So
Right.
then these talks became pretty common, and I think we ended up doing a lot of good work. And now people talk to us on Facebook on the support group. My Facebook page is there, which is 360 degrees back to life. And if you Google Vandana Shah, you'll get my Facebook details. And people come in and we respond to them. So I think that is important. And like you said, in India, uh, a support group means now I have to judge you.
Yeah.
So I was really clear. No, here you come and talk.
Hmm.
I am not to decide whether you did the right thing by sticking on in a marriage which was abusive, or you did the right thing for men by moving out of a marriage because you fell in love with your young with your young secretary or went back to an ex-girlfriend or whatever. Here you talk about your broken relationships, your aspirations, how to heal them, and how to move forward. So it was healing through talking and by being non-judgmental. And I think that is it, the key. And in India, we don't do that. We want to judge all the time, and we judge on everything. And I think that is just ridiculous, um, and that doesn't help people. It doesn't heal people, you know.
So you Vandana, you touch upon the victim mindset, where you have to get out of the victim mindset. And we at Rex Karamveer or in the Mojish Inspirator talk about this victim mindset, when you have to get out of the victim mindset to help yourself. And then you seek therapy, seek healing, seek intervention. But at the end of the day, you have to act upon it. So, you have to do
Yes,
action. You have to act
yes,
upon it, because no law of attraction is coming to help you. I, as a therapist and as a, work that I do other than this, you have to act. Nobody is coming to help you till you help yourself. And science proves that, neuroscience proves that, and all of that. So tell me, Vandana, then the book also came out, 360 Degrees. The book is also called 360
yes.
Degrees, and the counseling group. So you healed yourself, you counseled yourself, and you went on to give it back to more and more. Tell us about that, the book.
Oh, what happened during the course of this whole journey? Look, I had no money. So, sometimes having no money frees you.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I could still go to my dad's mess because we still had the mess membership. Or
Right.
I could go to a club in Delhi, because you had a Fauji club, you had the Dollar Kuan, the Delhi Gymkhana. You
Right.
could go there, But the thing is, you had such limited money, you had nothing to lose. So when you are at the bottom of the barrel, you're scraping to come up. So that's when I said, I always wanted to write. I said, so why not put together the experiences of people going through a divorce
Mm,
and spin it with humor
mm.
and put it out to people because they will really benefit from it and they will understand that divorce is not this sad moment of thing. You start at zero, you learn, to 360, and then you start on, of course, always laced with humor, you know. And I just felt that, people needed to know this. We need to get over this self-obsession with our sadness. I have so many friends who are very and I don't want to look at what I have versus what I don't have is what also is something which we need to change, But more importantly, I feel that the book was laced with humor. It gave a lot of courage to people. It told you, it's got these chapters, where it talks about not only the legal journey of a divorce, which any lawyer can tell you, but also the socio-legal journey.
Mm.
Like there's this chapter on Karwa Chauth in the book, which is about religious festival. And I remember one of my aunts asked, "Why are you keeping a Karwa Chauth?" And I
Mm.
said, "I need to keep the Karwa Chauth because if my husband dies, who going to pay me the alimony?" And she was horrified. And she said,
Mm.
"You are just unbelievable." She said, "Do you mean it? Do you mean it?" I said, "You figure it out, you know. But the whole thing is that, this whole journey to navigate, and this
Mm.
whole thing that guys think suddenly they can hit on you because you're a divorcee or you're going through a divorce,
Mm.
and you have all these guys coming out of the woodwork, saying that they are going through bad marriages. They are not. Okay, to think it's okay to have an affair, or something along those lines. And at the workplace, you have to navigate yourself. I always say that, look, tell your HR that you're going through divorce so that they are a more understanding.
True.
Okay. I just feel, just put it out there. It took
Yeah.
me 5 years to put it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have learned from that no, you need to put it out there, and you need to stop pretending. And please don't tell people like my husband is gone on an overseas assignment
Yeah.
for like forever, you know, which is what a lot of women, I see you nodding. You must be knowing a lot of women who say that.
Yeah, so I
And
I'm thinking, this whole mindset, that shift that we need. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Vandana? I Am I there? So Vandana, I was talking about the fact that, all women
yeah,
think that, yeah, when we're going through something wrong, it's our fault. When things are not working out, it's our fault. If the relationship is not working, it's our fault. Divorce happening, our fault. How would we be looked up at? And what I feel is that you should be just out in the open, that yes, this is not working, and there's nothing to be sad about. And you also spoke about something very nice, that you can't keep wallowing and whimpering and whining. Happened. Move
yeah,
on. Move on. It's fine. It's very
yeah,
easy to say but difficult to do, because socio-political, or around us, the din around us is forever saying something else, and to navigate through that is very, very tough. Am I there? Are we having a technical glitch?
that look, it is your journey. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I just tell women, look, it is your journey.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to wake up at the age of 80 and
Right.
think that I was married to an abusive man
Yeah.
who, instead of letting me follow my passions and my dreams,
Right.
just made me a clone of everything. And he just and what did I do? I just procreated, and I went to 25 kitty parties and some fancy dinners or whatever, and that was the end of it. So you got to think, do I have any regrets? And that's when you will take an action.
Yeah.
So it's, and look, some people have bad childhoods, some people have good childhoods. So if you've had a good childhood, you say, look, I want a better life, and I will live up to more than what my parents gave me. And look, if you've had a bad childhood, you turn around and say, I don't want to live that life, and I will live a better life than what my parents gave me. So the we need to get over this whole excuse-itis thing. Oh, actually, I'm overweight because my parents were genetically overweight. What nonsense!
Yeah.
I mean, that's the lamest excuses I hear
Yes.
from people. Oh, actually, I let my husband and I'm very unhappy about it. But I can't do anything about it because who'll give me a job? Why can't you get a job in a call center? I worked in a call center. I worked with Wipro in their back office, and so why can't you work? So, this whole thing of what will the society think? Society is not giving me anything. You know, what will society think? Society will think whatever it needs to think. Are they giving you any money? No, they are not. Are they putting the food on your table? Are they giving you food for your soul? They are not. So you need to see, you need to look at your soul as a newborn baby that needs to be protected and needs to be fed all the time and needs to
Yeah.
be nurtured. And that is what will get you going ahead in life, not excuses and saying I'm not brave enough. I think everybody's brave enough.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True, very well said. And we all go through our setbacks, we all go through our downtimes. But what you make of them and what you learn from them, or what you, as failures, they're your best teachers, they're your foundations for success, or relearning or unlearning and learning in life. And that's what we espouse at our mission in our work. That we have to, I use the term, we have to untaboo a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
Lots of
True.
things need to be untabooed, for women, for children, for people, for everybody. And we need to do it as a collective and create a better society and better mindsets, because we're all lost in the frills and the fancies, and we lose out on the real core issues. um,
True.
yeah. So, Vandana, tell me about the documentary that was, the BBC documentary featuring your work, which was broadcast in a lot of countries, and especially on the Women's Day. Tell me about that. And you're also an empaneled senior attorney with National Commission for Women. So, tell us about this journey and tell us about the awareness that it has brought about on
So
the women issues.
yeah. So what happened along the way? I suddenly realized that I was doing a lot of work, which I mean I thought that was the normal way to survive, and but obviously it was not, and it started getting noticed by a lot of people out there in the field of journalism, and BBC was the first to notice the work that I was doing, and they decided to make this documentary called The Invisible Women of India, who were taking up cudgels on behalf of other women, and doing work where we were not really acknowledged, and rather than being felicitated, we were reviled for the work that we were doing.
Right.
And I use the term reviled because the documentary commences by saying that here is a lawyer who believes that divorce is not the end of the world, and she's working towards removing the stigma around divorce.
Right.
And I just felt that, and that during that journey, I realized that, there is so much of stigma around divorce. So BBC wanted to focus on the work that I'm doing. And, during the course of that, this documentary got made, and they asked about my thoughts. They focused on the support group. They focused on my free legal aid work that I did, as well as we filmed in the High Court, Mumbai High Court and Family Court, and so that was the first of the coverages by BBC. After that, there have been many more. I work on PILs, so the triple talaq PIL. I was interviewed again. I also work on a lot of divorces for the extremely poor and the extremely rich. So, that's a huge band regarding, let's say, a celebrity divorce. So there was this whole topic of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. So there was that one whole interview. And then there was a whole focus on free legal aid,
Mm.
which I thought was really beautiful. So after that, there have been numerous coverages by the BBC, maybe 10 or 12 or 15 times. And a lot of coverages by the Indian media also. And I'm happy to say I don't have a PR machinery working to put me out there in the news. And I think um, I'd much rather use that money for my for my free legal aid or support group. And I always say that my free legal aid, but is for people, it's for the needy, it's not for the greedy.
Right,
You
right,
know, so you can come to me and say, look, I'm going to get 25 crores to my husband, or I want 25 crores, but I want free legal aid. So I'm not the right person for that.
right.
So you keep your ethics going, you
Yeah,
keep your conscience flying high,
right.
and you follow your passions. Like I write a lot. I write for Huffington Post. I write for Tribe Global. I was writing in between for Indira Jaising. I was contributing for Mumbai Mirror and for Times of India, for BBC Hindi. So the work. So it's all worked out. I think in the end, it has worked out really good. And I've been seeing the American coverage of the elections, and I was saying at home, I think I want to get into journalism in a big way now, and probably look at news as a news presenter, because you see a lot of news presenters are lawyers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
probably we are able to hammer people a little more
Better.
easily.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
technical know-how.
Yeah, so I want to get onto that journey. And of course, I've also set up an app. My app is called Divorce Card.
Yes, I was going to
And
come to that. Yeah.
yeah, so I want to give people the opportunity to ask questions. And we've not promoted the app, and we've had 15,000 downloads, and which actually means 15,000 people have asked us close to 150,000 questions, because we allow 10 free questions. And then after that, you have to come back the next day.
Right.
So that was an interesting way to look at things.
Mm,
And I'm setting up a few YouTube videos, which are like 20, 25 seconds.
mm,
And I'm setting up a YouTube channel
mm,
where I put out these videos, and people can ask a question,
mm,
and I answer that, but in 20 seconds. So let's say you want to know what is the best way to file for divorce in India.
mm,
And I'll say, well, if you're a Hindu, you need to look at divorce by mutual consent
mm.
under so and so section of the Hindu Marriage Act. And I'm saying under so and so section for the simple reason that it is easy for me as a lawyer to talk about the sections, but I want to make it easy for the layperson. You don't need to know the section. I need to know the section.
Right.
So I have not gone into the legal, but I have given you a legal perspective. And I think that is difficult to do,
True.
because people talk big words,
Yes.
and
Lawyers talk very big words, and it's so difficult
very
to
big words,
decipher
because
them.
then I can bill you more. The bigger the words, the bigger the bill.
Yes. Yeah. And to be able to kind of translate that into layman's language, because law is at the end of the day for the layman, not for the
Yes,
lawyer.
not for the lawyers,
Yeah, so at the end of the day, and also, you spoke about the right word was not taboo but was stigma.
Yes,
And you talk about destigmatizing the whole concept of divorce and abuse and bad marriage and all of that, where the phrase or the narrative also is, even in the rape cases, that she was raped rather than say he raped her,
absolutely.
she is divorced rather than say that the marriage did not work or something so all that narrative also needs to change.
True, true.
Yeah, so that's very very good that you're doing it through your divorce cart, your app, your counseling, your support group, your writings and journaling and writing in various newspapers and things like that. But I want to draw your attention, and I would like you to talk about the fact that in these 9-10 months of pandemic, things have gone absolutely haywire and a lot of ugly head is coming out, that the ones who are really silently going through the very very traumatized phase or abusive phase is the women are in a bad place. So tell us about the work that you actually spearheaded during the pandemic as well.
Yeah, well, I want to start with a funny anecdote. So, at the beginning of the pandemic, when everything was shut,
mm,
I get a call from a socialite friend of mine saying that, where are you going to go for your Botox? So I said, actually nowhere, because I don't get Botox done. So she says, if I don't get my Botox done, my husband may just leave me. So what am I going to do? I said, well, if your husband leaves you, then you come to me. Okay. So, these problems were also real, and they all impacted marital relationships. We had go on. We had people cheating more. We had people's marriages getting caught out. We had people beating more. We had people giving no money. Okay.
mm,
We had husbands getting out of I owe her this. And I think it was really really weird, to be in such a setup, and to have people, sort of looking at the pandemic not only for other things, but also as an excuse to get away from your responsibilities. And I had a lot of women. I had one woman who actually thought her marriage has gone bust, but actually during the pandemic she realized it hasn't. And she said that she wanted to get back with her husband. So we tried to arrange a meeting on Zoom, and we got them going together. And we also had a lot of cases coming up where men were not paying. And we also had a lot of cases where we referred cases to organizations because the women were getting hammered.
right,
And I'm using the term hammered because I don't know any other term to use. I can't use a term like abuse because it had gone beyond abuse.
right, right,
So it was really bad.
right.
And during this time, we I put together, even now my Twitter handle carries that, and I put together something which is okay. If you have questions regarding your marriage, or you're in an abusive situation, you can get in touch with us on the WhatsApp. We will WhatsApp you back as to
Mm,
what needs to be done.
mm,
Why we did WhatsApp? Because it was just too many calls.
mm,
Okay, and calls take too much of time. We'd
right,
answer out 5 questions, and you won't believe it. In a day, between we started with only me, and then it grew to five of us. Yeah, around 4 5 of us, and everybody else was also chipping in. I mean, we were getting like 100 calls from people. That's why we converted it into WhatsApp, and we said, no, you can just ask 5 questions. So you ask the 5 questions, and then we tell them, you're getting hammered by your husband, don't call 100. You need to call 103. That is the Women and Child Helpline. You are getting hammered by your husband, go to the Maharashtra State Women's Commission. 103 is the one, not 100. You're getting this thing, go to National Commission for Women. You know, your husband is not paying you. Okay, so this was really bizarre. The lawyers were telling the clients that the courts are not working, but that's not true,
ah,
because the courts were working.
yeah,
We could appear online,
yeah,
and I mean, in between, the courts kind of took up some sort of offline work kind of a thing from July onwards. But the lawyers did not tell the clients. And I feel that that is an education that we need to have, and that's why I think helplines like mine are really good, because we at least have the ability to tell the truth to the
mm,
clients. I can tell
yeah,
the client, court is open, but I'm not going to go because there's fear of corona. Okay, so this whole
right,
thing just completely changed. Corona totally turned the world upside down. So the negatives were all of these, but the positives were also suddenly people realized, hey, my husband is not such a bad guy. I think I can spend some time with him. So I thought that were nice, interesting things to have. And Also, I think a lot of people spend a lot of time with their families. I always tell mothers to let their children meet the husbands, because at the end of the day, you both have created the baby, and so a lot of mothers realize that, because I think somewhere they just felt that, well, this is the closest that we've been to the end of the world.
Right.
So, so they felt that, well, let me at least let my husband meet the children, and so a lot of successes in that respect. And I really think people need to be heard, and I think
Yeah.
that is the kind of thing that we provided during the pandemic, that let people be heard.
Yeah.
And the world has turned upside down. I hope we learn from the pandemic as to things which
I
are
hope.
important to us, versus things which are really not. And I mean, for someone like me, I'm usually 99.9% of the time I'm positive, and I just feel, well, you really pretty much need to focus on what you have versus what you don't,
Yeah.
and get rid of the negativity. you know I've started doing that, and I tell people, I don't want to know about the apparent sadness in your life, that your cousin has bought a Mercedes, but you have the older model. That's not a sadness.
Yeah.
In my mind, that's not a real problem.
Not
you
at all.
know so I think the pandemic, this is the kind of work we did, and I think it was the one of the best works I did, because it was social work without really being social work, because it was the need of the hour. And I think what that really sort of established us as lawyers with a conscience. And I think that is important. I mean, nobody's telling you don't make money. Please make money, but you can make money in a conscientious manner,
True.
and go ahead, do some good work, and I think change the world. I'm always on, let's change the world, let's change the world, let's change the world.
On that note, I'm going to invite Jerry, because you talked about conscientiousness and
Yes,
lawyers. I think all citizens of this country need conscientiousness. Journalists need conscientiousness.
yes.
Government needs conscientiousness. Lawyers need conscientiousness. And we as citizens of the country need to be conscious and conscience.
Politicians need consciousness, the maximum.
Yeah. So
you
I'm going
know
to invite Jerry back into the conversation to take the conversation forward with
sure,
all the insights that we have shared, and give us some more Mojosh Inspirator insights.
sure, why not?
So namaste once again, Vandana.
Namaste, Jerry.
Yes, so great journey. Yeah, I mean, when were you first awarded the Karmavir Puraskar Award?
Oh my goodness, mine was the last
Whi-
one at the Rajghat. Can you imagine? And should I tell you when it was? It
That
was
was the 2008.
2611, the year the Taj got bombed.
Right,
Can you
right.
believe
You
that?
were in the same cohort as Meera Sanyal and all.
Yes, yes. And that was the year that the Taj
Yes,
got
yes.
water. That the Taj got bombed.
Right.
And I remember you continued with the awards. We heard about it later, but then we were midway through it, and we just continued. And I mean, we had no idea that this is going on. And even when you came to know, you weren't panicked, and you just said, let's just wrap this up. And that was the last year at the Rajghat.
Right, it was 2008. It
Yes,
was also where Meera Sanyal decided to run for office, to become
that's
a
the one.
politician. Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
of course
So
she
that was,
passed away a couple of years
I
ago.
know,
So
I know.
that's what.
Yeah, so it's it's
So yeah,
been
it's
uh,
it's
it's
it's,
been a
it's been
long
quite a
journey.
yeah, it's been quite a journey for you also, from 360 degrees. I remember I first met you at this dinner because of the movie director. What is his name?
Pankaj,
Prakash. Pankaj
Pankaj
Parashar.
Parashar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that, and then,
Great.
yeah, that was really good.
Well, just by coincidence, yes. Good. So,
Yes.
tell me, what are the other fights that you've been leading during the COVID? You had a fight with Thyrocare.
Yes. And also so I've had three major things that I've done during COVID. One is, of course, I've filed a PIL, a writ petition against the Mumbai police for inaction.
Okay,
And the Mumbai police hates me, but they can't do
okay,
anything to me.
okay.
You know, you see, what can you do to a person? No, maximum what you can only arrest them. No,
Right.
you can't kill me.
Like they've
So,
done with Arnab
like they've
Goswami.
done with Arnab, and and of course, like I was telling Itu, I said no journalist has spoken up. I've spoken to so many journalists. I said, why don't you speak? It could happen to you tomorrow.
Yes,
You speak.
but the I do feel what has been done wrongly, but I also somewhere feel it's like, you know, Arnab's getting just desserts now, and is getting a
Just
taste
as
of
us,
his.
because he has no right. You see, what I get appalled by is you cannot be on a TV show and
Mm,
accuse people and give a judgment. You can
yes,
accuse, but you can't give a judgment.
absolutely. But
You know?
more than that, I think it's I mean, after a certain point, I stopped watching news way back in 2000
Hmm.
2002. So 18 years I've never watched news.
Hmm.
I said it at that time to Jugnu, my Sena half, that this is all bastardized news. I
Yeah.
used
Yeah.
I used that very strong term to always define news, especially in India. I mean,
Yes.
imagine people like Barkadat, Rajdeep, who don't have a single truthful bone in their body, speaking about how they are going to present the truth, right? I mean, and so let's not blame Arnab alone. I mean, they were the ones who actually kind of
Who
started
actually started that? True.
bastardizing news.
True.
And just because everybody likes to hate Arnab, they try to portray them in better light, but they are by no means in better light, right?
Yes. They were. Barkha
You
has been implicated in the Radia tapes. No one
she was
speaks
not
about that.
she was not implicated, she was caught red-handed, right?
Yeah, but no one speaks about that.
No one speaks about that. So was Rajdeep on the tapes, and both of them were always, always trying to show the Congress in better light. And I always say, as a journalist, as an activist, you cannot be aligned with any party. है
I
ना?
agree.
And I always make it a point to question people on this when they get aligned with a political party or a business house. That defeats the purpose, because
Absolutely.
you as an activist or a crusader or a journalist have the responsibility to be only aligned with one community, which is the people, right?
Yeah,
And not with anybody else. So you take a stand for what is right, against what is wrong, and against the person who's doing that wrong. Now that
absolutely.
said, I feel that what the and the reason I put on record that what the Maharashtra government has done is because the Shiv Sena, by no um
Stretch.
can never speak about anything moralistic by any yardstick,
Yeah, I tell you.
right? Uh, and I remember in 2010 I had written an article when they had boycotted My Name Is Khan. Not that I'm a big fan of Shah
Hmm.
Rukh Khan also, but I said, who are you to do moral policing?
Yeah,
Who gives you the right to do moral policing? And how do you do moral policing when you don't have any morality at all? And I wrote
yeah.
in that article, I said that Bal Thackeray was the person who was promoting sex rackets and dance bars in India. The first dance bar in Bombay was owned by Bal Thackeray.
Hmm.
It's a fact now. Everybody knows it. And I
Hmm.
remember Sanjay Raut calling me at that time and trying to, first mollycoddle me with some sweet talk, then threatening me. The same Sanjay Raut. He's basically a dog on a leash for the
True.
Thackeray's, right? Now, what I'm saying is my basic grouse is that yes, I dislike Arnab, but what has been done is wrong,
Is wrong.
because today if they get away with this, then tomorrow they will come and pick up anybody,
Yep.
and with a willy-nilly case or a suo moto case. So that is what I
Yep.
posted, and a lot of people said, no, we don't agree with what you're saying. Hey, you're not getting the point. People, common sense has become starkingly
Uncommon.
uncommon. and it's not uncommon. When Voltaire said this, it was like, I think 4 centuries ago, that common sense is uncommon. So from that time onwards, the human race has started regressing. So today, common sense is not uncommon; it's a scarcity.
Yeah,
And the problem is that when educated idiots, I mean, I call them, in Goa we call them shinkon brut, which means after all the education you're still an idiot. When educated idiots when people with education behave like morons, that really affects you even more, right? And then you're trying to figure out, I mean, it's
like,
like, stop
yeah,
the world, stop the world and let me off, right?
exactly.
So
Yeah,
you try to beat some sense into them that, hey, the Shiv Sena SS are their initials, and they are no better than the SS of the Nazi regime.
I know.
Okay,
And I
these
agree with you. And look at the state that, I mean, for the last 4 months, all I've heard is Sushant Singh Rajput, then after that Kangana, now
no,
Arnab.
and it's basically, I mean, if you see in the past 6 years, we move from one nonsense to the next nonsense,
I
and
agree.
it just basically keeps everybody's brain and bandwidth completely occupied, and your adrenaline kind of pumping, without realizing that it's all futile, right?
Yeah,
So,
and the thing is, Jerry, I want to interject and I want to say we have forgotten what is tabloid news versus what is real news. So I am so
but
obsessed.
there is no real news
Yeah,
anymore.
so I am so
It is
obsessed with Sushant Singh Rajput. I have forgotten that what is the state of the economic affairs in this country. So someone came and
right,
told me, "Oh, ma'am, Deepika has been called by NCB." I said, "What's the money in your bank account?" So he told me. I said, "What was it yesterday?" He told me. I said, "It's the same. Whether Deepika is called to NCB or not, your bank account money is the same. No. How are
right,
you benefiting?" And
right.
you're so right about common sense being a scarcity. He still didn't understand what I'm trying to say.
Right. No,
You
no, they
know?
won't. They
So
they 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 don't want to. So yesterday, I mean, I saw one. I'll probably name her. These people should be named and shamed. And she's like the IFS officer, and was an ambassador for India to some countries and all. And she writes like, Arnab is like the most truthful journalist, which is the other extreme now. Right? So you have one extreme which says that, Jerry, I disagree with you because you shouldn't be taking up. I'm like, I'm not taking up for Arnab. I'm saying that he got his just desserts, but what has been done
the manner,
illegally cannot be justified, because
correct?
tomorrow they will use the same precedent to pick up anybody else, or they'll
True.
frame a crusader in a case and they'll pick you up, right?
Yep.
So surely the case was kind of paused because Devendra Fadnavis, who's another stooge of the BJP, had put pressure on the cops and they closed the case. But reopen the case the right way, do it legitimately, and then arrest. Right? I'm not saying don't
Yep.
arrest, but it has to be done by the book,
Yep.
right?
But
Failing which, it's like the Aam Aadmi Party, the Minister of Law just enters a house and says, that all you Nigerians are running a sex racket, and at that time everybody had praised Arvind Kejriwal, and so this is the public of India, the stupid citizenry of India. And I had said, tomorrow they'll enter my house and they'll, just because they want to take revenge, they'll enter my house and say, I'm running a sex racket with my mother and my wife. What will you do? Pe-
I
this
know
has happened. So there's a bad precedents which are being
this is
set, and instead
horrible
of
precedent.
opposing it, we become prey to it. And therein lies the problem. And since you work in the legal space, it's exactly how divorce cases, etc., get all messed up. and
So
and the
I want to tell
and
you. So you were
unfortunate.
asking me. I did four things. First, of course, the Thyrocare and SRL. I mean, I
Hmm,
went on the 13th of May for getting tested. They give me a report of someone who's come on the 14th of May, and I said, no,
right,
not my report. So they tell me, no, no, this is your report. You came on the 14th of May, and I said,
right.
the age is wrong, the gender is wrong. How is this my report? And the day is wrong. So anyways, I've sued them for 99 lakhs. Then, of
Very good.
course, the Maharashtra
Make
police have filed a
make
writ of
make
mandamus.
make 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 money, make money the legal way.
Absolutely. Then Maharashtra police writ of mandamus
Right.
for inaction in two FIRs, which are offenses against women. So so because their
Right.
pockets are weighed down so heavily, they don't want to take any action. So now eventually the National Commission for
Right.
Women has also stepped in to help me. So that is another thing that will happen. And I also look at, you were
Right.
talking about divorce cases. So I was and Shiv Sena. So I was handling the divorce of a lady who was the opposite
Hmm.
side, and the opposite side was her husband, who was a very prominent Shiv Sainik. Okay, and I get a
Mm.
call from them, and then he moved to MNS. I get a call from MNS saying Raja
Mm.
Sahib wants to meet you. I said, who's Raja Sahib? And they said, actually, why don't you come to this the bhavan and all that, and we meet you. I said, actually, my office is here. I charge 25,000 rupees for a 45-minute consultation. You want to come and
Mm.
see? You're welcome to come and see me. Take an appointment with my secretary. Otherwise, come to the family court. I'll see you in court. And
Mm.
I was appalled. I said, in this divorce case, so like you said, so you first, Sanjay Raut spoke nicely to you, and then, we'll browbeat you. Well, needless to say, I won the case and all of that. But the fact of the matter is that this is how we are working in this country. And Jerry, like you said, things have only gone from bad to worse, and everybody is preaching about
No.
everything, but
So
nobody's
so
taking
so so we are
yeah, and nobody's
so we are
taking
very
it.
regressive, and
Yeah, and I've
so we
also
are
got a really strange case which I filed against BMW, who um who took my car for an apparent servicing, and they said that my car had was not working, but then I find that my car is the toll naka is getting debited everywhere, and they've billed me for like 10 lakhs. And to top it all, they've even robbed cleaning cloth and tissue papers from my car. So I thought of sending a box of tissue paper to Vikram Pava, who's heading BMW India. But instead of that, I've gone to court. But I mean, Jerry, for me, going to court is like a walk in the park. What about the others who can't do it? So you'll just get browbeaten in this country for each and everything. And I mean, that's the saddest part. And I was, like I
no.
said, I was.
I'm going to cut interject then cut this short, because there are two ways of looking at this. You can either do a divorce cart, or consult a few women in your lifetime, because at the end of the day, you and I are perishable items, right? And we can work piecemeal with women, or you can work toward changing a law. Now, if you've seen the Dirty John series, I've seen the part two, because very interesting case, the Betty Broderick case, right? And whether it is the United States or India, the law is made so that people can squirm their way out of it. If you've not seen this show, it's a limited edition series, the Betty Broderick case. It's a true case, right? And it shows you how the husband manipulates the entire case so that he can just cheat her out of the alimony and any kind of support, right? And now, similarly in India, we have very, very regressive laws.
Yeah.
So if you really want to help women and even men to get their rights in a case of divorce the right way, because it's not just women who get marginalized in divorce cases, men also do get marginalized.
Yes.
Yeah. It depends on who's got the better lawyer and who's got more money to pump in, right? uh, so I think you need to work at improving the legal process rather than just working. I mean, that's an insight that I have for you, since I listened to you more closely about the progress that you've done with your work. At the same time, we are working on something called the Ahimsa Army Anonymous, which is about creating, like how you have a anti-prevention of sexual harassment cell in all organizations. We are looking at creating informal cells called the Ahimsa Army Anonymous, where in case you are being beaten up because you are a victim of domestic violence, like you said, at 2 o'clock in the night, there was nobody to support you. So then you have a cell. you know that you can reach out to this cell, and those people are visible,
Mm,
but whoever comes to them, they won't ever disclose who that person is, right?
mm.
Now they will find ways to intervene and send messages to the husband, or right, or even the wife, if the wife is victimizing her husband with domestic violence. That also happens, right? So then they will send messages in the board of managers meeting, or in the housing colony meetings, that we've heard certain cases, we know which those houses are, and you don't want us to intervene, because we, as the Ahimsa Army Anonymous cell, will intervene and call on the cops next time we hear about this. So small processes that we are putting in place. We would like to have you as a part of that also,
Most,
in
I'll
case you
be
have the
happy to
time.
do that.
Yeah, so you can include Vandana in that. With all her legal sharpness, she'll be able to give a
Yes,
lot of.
right.
Uh,
Okay, so
we
Jerry,
also we also
just
have.
one thing when you said like changing the law. So, like I said, that, when we file PILs, we are actually working towards changing the law. When we file, like I filed a PIL against Coke and Pepsi for
Mm,
overcharging us in the cinema halls, we're working towards changing the law. When we work on abolishing triple talaq in this country, we're working towards changing the law. So, so we're trying to do a combination where you approach the court and you approach the law commission. So
right.
law commission takes a little more time because, like you said, we are all activists. We are not aligned towards any one
No, but
party.
I mean, it's got to be done at a deeper level. Now you'll see that this entire Hathras case, and you are part of the National Commission for
Yes,
Women, right? The case was not only completely covered up by the Modi and the Yogi government, and then you have such a horrible, to not use a more crude crass word, though she's putting a lot of language in my mouth. I don't even want to remember her name. Whoever's heading NCW right now is bad news. What's her
yeah.
name?
Well, I mean, that was not. So the first step is when we make the laws. So when you have a rape, the laws are in place. How do you
Right,
implement them?
right,
So it has to be a combination. When
right,
you talk about a deeper level, I think
right,
the deeper level that you need to have A and you need to have B,
right.
and both of them together bring about a
No, no,
change.
no.
Like the sexual harassment law,
Sure,
it's a failure. That whole
surely, sure.
law is a failure.
No, no,
We've not been
no.
able to get a single conviction. I've got one case pending in the Supreme Court for sexual harassment, and against a very prominent author, and but nothing has been
No,
done,
no, no. You
unfortunately.
cannot say that there have been no convictions. In all the anti-prevention, I sit on a few panels myself. There is quick action and there is proper action. So it has to be done the right way. So you cannot say
No,
the
I'm talking
prevention.
about cases where we've gone to, where we've gone to the cops.
Right, sure. I'm talking about, because this is more for the corporate sector, right? Of course, the Me
Yeah.
Too movement happened, and the way the Me Too movement was vitiated, you saw, right? So that's
Yes.
another thing which happens, because I mean, when you have the Ladidas like the Deepika Padukones, defending the Anirban Blas of the world, who are serial offenders, or you have another serial offender
Yes.
called Vijay Nair, who's now a part of Aam Aadmi Party and working closely with Atishi, who claims, "Oh, I didn't know anything about harassment." They do a Google search, no? Why? There's no rocket science. So, as far as the prevention of sexual harassment uh, 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 policy is concerned, it's a very strong policy. It favors the woman, and it also helps to kind of get justice for the woman, and it's happened in many corporate cases, right? So as far as the case under Me Too was concerned, Me Too as a movement in India was completely vitiated. It was completely kind of dissolved, because all the celebrities got together and basically made it all look like complete hogwash. Media made it look like hogwash. So I don't think we can just kind of say that prevention of sexual harassment does not work because of a few celebrities who didn't get justice. We have to look at deeper into that was it done with the right diligence and with the right process of law. uh,
dropped out. Looks
Yeah,
like.
she dropped out. I think she has a bad connection, I think, na, in
Yes, I
between.
think it was getting.
Anyway, so we'll wind up with that.
Yeah,
We'll wrap up.
yeah. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste, namaste. Thank you.
I think Vandana is there. I'll just take her in.
So one is the law perfect? It never will be. So it needs to continuously improve. Uh, Secondly, I was saying that I mean we should speak out, and since you're part of the National Commission for Women, we should speak out against bigots and people who have misogynistic views like Rekha Sharma. How can they head a body like NCW? Where was a voice when it came to justice for the victim of the Hathras
No,
case?
I have a few points of view there. I think
There's too
that for a lot of things
there's too much
she's
of
done,
echo.
she's
Vandana, I think there's something
I did
wrong
it.
with
now
you.
can you hear me?
No,
Now
no.
can you hear me?
Go ahead.
So look, it's been a mixed bag, but I must say that it has been a mixed bag, A. And B, I think for a lot of things, like for the sexual harassment movement, she was at the forefront. She spoke quite a lot. And I must say that the police take a lot of cognizance when the NCW steps in. So can she be better? Everyone can be better. But I don't I have a different point of view because I've seen them
Anyway,
work.
your voice is breaking. I think it's a bad connection.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Now
Uh,
it's fine now, Vandana. Go ahead.
now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, I think in general, the NCW is doing a pretty good job. They take cognizance of cases also where the people are unknown,
No, no, I
and
didn't say Vandana, listen to me. I didn't say NCW is not doing a good job. I said a person like Rekha Sharma as head of NCW is a problem, right? Because there was no voice raised for the Hathras victim. Her name is Manisha Valmiki, by the way. And the UP government has even hired a PR agency called Concept PR to cover up and hush up the entire case. Anyway, this is calls for a longer discussion. We will
sure.
conclude with this. Thank you and namaste.
Thank you so much, Vandana. Thank you for
Thank you,
sharing.
thank you, thank you, and I'm happy to be a part of this conversation, and also for the new
Ahimsa
organization
Anonymous.
Ahimsa. This thing, I'm happy to be a
Yeah.
part of that, and have a happy Diwali.
Ahimsa Army Anonymous.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ahimsa Army
Thank
Anonymous.
you.
We'll
And
touch
Same to you.
base on
Same
that.
to you. And give my regards to all at home. Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much. Bye bye.
See you. Good night. Good night. Good night,
Good
Vandana. Good
night.
night, Itu. Bye bye.
Bye.